painting. Good evening, everyone. We're so glad for you to be here. And I don't know if you can tell by my background behind me, the truth is out there. And Hannah is going to lead us in investigating outer worldly beings tonight because we are going to make something out of this world. Hannah, I'm very excited for tonight's class. So please, please, please share with us what we're going to do, what we need, and just everything that we do.
Thank you, Alexa. You're right. The truth is out there, okay? Now, we may not find the answers today, but we're certainly going to be discussing it, looking for it, and painting it too, okay? I like to think that I create my own reality. I don't know how true that is, but we're going to create our own aliens today, all right? Now, this was inspired by previous classes because we love to just put aliens in our paintings, no matter what the painting is, especially JP. Thank you for being the inspiration for this class. So I hope you guys are excited. We're gonna get started. So this is a classic acrylic painting class. Okay, the only thing different about it is that we're going to be using a palette knife today. And why palette knife? You might ask. Just because it's fun. That's literally the only reason why. It makes really interesting texture, so that's the only reason why. So I guess we can get into it. We can get started. Yeah, let's do this. So we are going to need, of course, either a canvas or some sort of thick paper. I always use canvas boards just because for me it's more of a storage issue. But if you have paper, thick paper like mixed media or even watercolor will work. It might feel a little different, but it'll work. Um, Cardstock, if you have cardstock, that's good too. What else? We're going to want a palette of some kind. If you don't have a palette, wax paper works. And if not, perhaps a foam or paper plate. As long as it's non-porous, you're fine. Okay. As far as brushes are concerned, you're going to want something flat. So this is one of my normal brushes. So 3/4 inch, just something that'll get you through to painting the entire background of this painting. Okay. And we're going to divide it into two. Okay. Green background down here, blue background up here. So that's all just to spread the paint around. And we're going to want to have two types of round brushes. So I have a larger one. So this is a size maybe 6. I always forget what it is, 6 or 8. It's a medium sized brush. And then also a tinier brush. So as long as it's small, 1 or 2 or even 0 is fine, as long as it's small. This one says 1. I don't know if you can see that. Does not have to be precise. Okay, I want you guys to use what you have. Okay, so if they're not exactly this, that's okay. Even if you have something like this to make the whole background, that's okay too. Okay, use what you have. Let's see if you happen to have I don't know, perhaps any paint markers that might be nice to put in. I didn't put any of that in the what is it, in the emails that I sent out with the supply list. But I was thinking earlier when I was doing my practice painting, which I'll show you in a bit, it might be kind of nice to have a paint marker of some kind. But that's just something I thought about much later. So, okay, we want a napkin. And I mentioned palette knife. So it does not matter which palette knife you use. This one, I feel like is, for me, it's easier to hold. That's the only thing that matters. As long as it's easier for you to hold, that's fine. This one right here, oops, dropping all my things. This one right here is one of the bigger ones. It happens to be one of my favorite kinds of palette knives just because it's also pretty easy to hold. But this one's not as common, so that's why I'm going to use this one. But honestly, just use whatever you've got, okay? And if you don't have anything like that, if you do not have a palette knife, then you can always grab an old gift card, as long as it doesn't have any money on it, okay? If you're okay with getting it dirty with paint on it, you can absolutely use a gift card, okay? What else? What else? paints. Let's get into colors. Of course, we see lots of blue. We see lots of dark blue, lots of greens. It all starts with just a few colors. So I have blue, and then I also have black. I mean, I know it says pavement, but it's dark enough, okay? It's a very, very dark color. It's close to black. So black and blue. And we also want green, any kind of green. We'll want some white, purple, teal, or, just some sort of off blue if you don't have teal, something like that, turquoise. What else? I don't remember if I put brown. I think I put brown in the list, the supply list. So brown right there. These are our colors. Of course, bring any other kind of color you want to bring in. Okay. You want a pink spaceship? Make a pink spaceship. You want orange? Put the oranges in there. Okay. I'm not going to stop you. I love it when you guys make your own decisions, make your own creative rules. Go for it. Okay. Honestly, if you want to make an entire fleet of multicolor spaceships, please be my guest. I would love to see that. This is
Hannah, there
actually,
is something very important that you did not mention in this.
oh, what did I not mention?
So, do you personally think that aliens are grays, as they're called? Are they green or are they another color?
Alexa, should we get into this?
Yes,
My whole
because
fa-
we promised that the truth was out there.
All of the
okay,
above.
all the above. Okay, I grew up with aliens as a dinner table topic in my household. Same with conspiracy theories was a very hot topic in my house. So there's the grays, there's the tall whites, there's the Nordics, there's what else is there? I don't know if they're green aliens. I don't
Lizard
think
people.
so. Yes, the reptilians. And I know there's more. I know there's more. Can't think of their names off the top of my head, but I don't think that they are little green aliens. Maybe like off gray. Yeah. I even read just off topic. I read some books about like first person accounts of alien encounters. But that's a whole nother class, guys. See, this is
You
why this
should
is so
bring that
fun.
to the writing class, Hannah.
Seriously, that would be super fun. I just forgot to go to the writing class last week. But anyway, yeah, we can discuss this some more later, okay? I want to get started on the actual painting, guys. So I mentioned our colors. I'll go ahead and bring them out one more time so you can see them. We will be mixing a little bit, actually a lot, actually. We will be mixing some colors. Sorry, I'm trying to get some wires out of the way. Okay. So do you guys see this green and the blue up here? Well, we're going to need to make a darker green and a darker blue. Okay, so we'll do that separately on our palette. So we're going to want to mix some black paint with both of these. With the green, we are going to mix a little bit of brown along with it, okay? Just a small amount. But with the blue, it's only just going to be the blue and the black. Now, if you already have like a navy blue, that's even better. Like you use that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and pour my paints out. Move that out of the way. Now I have my blue. You can see I already went to town with my painting earlier. Oh no, I might need some more blue. It's okay, I have more. I have so many bottles that I just grab. Okay, so there's a big old pile of blue. I'm not going to be using all of this blue yet, not at the get-go. So I'll pour some black paint on the side. So I like to be strategic. It's just a little tip that I don't always remember to tell you guys. I like to be strategic about my placement of colors just because it's just easier to mix them when they're close by. So these two are together because I'm going to mix them. The green, I already have a bunch of green there, but Get some green because it's close by with these three. So it's something you don't have to do. It's something that I learned to do in my early days of teaching painting. Okay, and I may pour some more out later, but this is good for now. Now, before we begin, does anybody have questions? Is anybody maybe needing some help because they're using a different medium? Please let me know. I'm here to help you guys just in case you don't have everything. I want to make sure that you guys are still able to have fun and you can still do the project even if you don't have everything. Okay, cool. Because I'm serious when I say if you only had like markers or something, we'd figure it out. Okay. All right. So I want to show you the picture again. Now, our background is going to be very simple, okay? We're going to mix up the dark blue to create the sky, and we're going to cover up most of this, okay? Never mind that there are mountains in the background. If you don't have to color all of it, but we want the majority of this up here, more than half, to be that blue. And down here, we're going to have a good chunk of it is going to be that dark green. Even though you see all of these different types of greens, and you even see some water over here, we still want to start out with a dark background. So let's go ahead and mix those colors. So I'm going to take my larger brush right here, and I'll just go ahead and grab some water. I'll just grab just to wet it. Let's start out with, which one did I start with first? Which one did I start? Okay, that's right. I started out with this first. So, no, I'm sorry. Let's start with this one. Sky. Let's do the sky. So let's make a dark color like a navy blue. So I'm going to pick up a good chunk of this and maybe set it aside. That water is going to help us to spread it further, faster. And then let's get a good, I don't know, scoop of that black paint. We just want it to be a navy color. Still want it to look blue, but very dark. If you need to grab a little more black, that's okay. Just do a little at a time. It's a very powerful color. If you need to grab a little more blue, that's okay too. That looks pretty good to me. That little bit of water that we grabbed, that'll help us to go a little further, a little faster. Maybe I'll add a bit more black paint just to darken it up a little bit more. All right. So I mentioned earlier that it's going to be more than half. So we can go ahead and block it out. There we go. So I can identify halfway and then bring my finger down a bit more. So that's my area. So all we got to do is just make a line, and we do not have to make a straight line. That's okay. And then all we're going to do is paint the whole thing up here. Be sure to get all of the little dots, like the texture of the canvas, because that might show through. Okay, so just be careful with that. And then if you need to grab a little bit more water just to help it flow a little better, you can just grab it off the surface of your water and then continue on, or even grab some more paint. Keep on going. That water does help you to get into the little pieces of texture too. Gonna grab a bit more because that helps. At this moment, the texture does not matter. Like most of your brush strokes should be able to blend in, most if not all. We'll put in a little bit of texture in a bit after you've gone further. So grab a big old glob of paint and just spread it around. See that little bit of texture right there? I'm trying to fill that in. I'm actually using a repurposed canvas. So I painted over an old painting. So it's a little harder to paint on those. They tend to like be drier, I guess. You guys doing okay? It's just the beginning. In a moment, we'll put a bit of texture using just blue, only blue. And then after that, we'll put even more texture using the teal. So we'll throw in some teal. So let me show you what that looks like. See all that? Now that's just what I like to call background noise. Our main focal point is, of course, the UFO, right? It's the UAP. And of course, a little bit with the mountains too. But all of this stuff there, that's just texture, background noise, okay? Does not have to be perfect, okay? Okay, now before it gets too dry, I don't want to go too fast, but I also don't want it to dry too much either. Um, I want to go ahead and double dip, okay? So I am going to grab my navy color, which for me, I actually have to make a little bit more. Don't need a whole lot. So let me take a moment to make some. Okay, so now I've created some more dark blue navy color. So now I've gotten a lot in my brush here. So now I can double dip with some blue, and then closer to the middle bottom portion here, just want to go back and forth, brush, brush, brush. It's as if you're sweeping, but you're not doing a very good job sweeping. Like this is not how you're actually supposed to sweep. The whole point is just to make that sweepy, crisscrossy texture back and forth and back and forth. You can really feel it like kind of in your wrists, like you're moving your wrists back and forth. And it none of this is blended super well. I know it's hard to tell. It just gives it kind of a blush of blue. And the whole reason I skipped this part and I jumped to up here is because this is where the mountains are supposed to go. So this area is going to be covered up. So that's why I skipped it and I just jumped up there. You can see the glare particularly well today. But yeah, that's a lot of texture. I'll give y'all a couple minutes to get that part in there. Maybe I can tell you guys about my imaginary friend when I was little, which was an alien. Okay, that's why it's relevant. And I don't know what prompted me to make this imaginary friend, but I would always talk about Fred. And Fred was a tall gray alien, 7 feet tall. He's from the planet England. It's a whole planet named England. And he was my best friend, okay? Well, I said that he was my best friend, but He wore a sombrero and he wore a poncho, a Mexican poncho. No shoes or anything else, just those two things. And I think I drew a picture of him a long time ago. He was able to fit into a tiny spaceship, teeny tiny spaceship. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was little, I used to like imagine the spaceship like following us in the car when we were driving in the car. And so I would always see Fred's spaceship just trying to keep up with us and going zipping around us. Yeah, very big imagination. Anybody else? Anybody else want to share their imaginary friends?
I had an imaginary friend. Her name was
Yeah.
Mildred.
What was her name?
Mildred.
Mildred. That's a pretty name.
Yeah, Mildred was
Mildred.
yeah, and very few people knew Mildred, but I took my foster daughter back to New York and I rang the bell of an old neighbor. I moved when I was 12 and
Mm.
so then she said, "Oh yeah," and I told Krista about Mildred, but then she said, "Oh, you used to have this imaginary friend." You go, "Stop, you're sitting on her." I go, "Mildred." And so it was so cool that my foster daughter got to meet someone who knew Mildred.
That's so cute. That's adorable, though. Oh,
I got
that's so
excited when
funny.
you said imaginary friend. I had one.
Yeah, you had one. Oh, that's so funny. All right, guys. So we're gonna add in that little bit of teal. Now, let me show you. Ta-da. So it kind of looks like it's going along the mountains. But really I just wanted to make it look like it was sweeping along the mountains, okay? So we have this blank space here. I'll go ahead and just put the teal kind of in here, this area, just above that blank space. So don't rinse your brush. You don't have to rinse your brush. All you got to do is grab a bit more of that blue, and then a little bit of the teal goes a long way. So just kind of dip a little bit. A little goes a long way because again, this is also a very strong color, so it'll really stand out. And remember that really bad sweeping motion, like I'm not sweeping very well. We want that. And I'm not pressing down very hard because if I did press down hard, I wouldn't be able to see those streaks. We want those streaks. Those streaks are lovely. Grab a little more because I'm running out. Double dip. Tap, tap, tap a little bit of that teal. Sweep, 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 sweep. Don't press down too hard. Although I feel like I can't help it. If you can't help it, that's all right. Looks sweepy. Looks sweepy, you're good. Even if it looks a little choppy, that's all right. I just like to think of it as, I don't know, something with the atmospheres going on. Oops. I meant to grab more teal with that. Now, if you are like me and you accidentally go up a little bit, well, that's okay. You can balance it out with a bit of the navy if you don't want it going all the way up. But I mean, I don't see why not. But if you did want to correct it, here's how you can do it. You want to wipe away all of that extra light color paint. So wipe away all the teal, wipe away all the blue. And always feel like painting is all about balance. So balance it out with more of the dark blue. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Cover up that part that you don't want. Sweeping it with more of the dark blue. There you have it. All fixed. All about balance. Now keep in mind that a whole lot of this is going to be covered up by whatever aliens are back there. So that's why I don't want to spend too much time on this part. We do, however, want everything to be smooth. So make sure you swipe those lumps and bumps and make sure it's not too thick. for drying purposes, of course. We want it to dry. I think that portion up there might be my favorite. Now, if you are wondering what the next step is, we're going to jump down here. I'll give you guys another moment. Jump down here, and we'll be creating a darker green. So that's going to include, of course, green and black and a little bit of brown. That brown is just going to make it a little bit rich, a little bit more rich. If you don't have green, then grab some yellow and then mix a little bit of blue with your yellow, and then you'll create green. Blue and yellow. Blue and yellow make green. I really should have a color wheel around here. You know, like buy one or make one.
Hannah, I have multiple colors of brown. Would I want to go with a darker brown or a lighter brown?
I would go with a darker brown. Yeah, maybe something around here.
Okay.
Yeah. This one, I would describe it as like a milk chocolate kind of brown. Not a
So
milk,
mine
yeah,
says
milk chocolate.
raw sienna. I think that's going to be
Is that the lighter
okay.
one?
Yeah, the darker one is a raw umber.
Mm, the raw umber. Yes, we want that one.
Hmm?
Yeah, we want the raw umber.
The raw umber. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the darker one. Okay. Now I am gonna rinse my paintbrush off. And if you don't know how to rinse your brush, I like to swipe it and bounce it on the bottom, and then just kind of tap it on the side so I can see what kind of streaks fall down. And then take it to your napkin. If you see streaks on the napkin, then you might want to rinse again. But if not, if it's just wet like this, then you're doing good. I mean, the wetness might have a little bit of a tint to it, but as long as it's an even tint, that's fine. Now I've got my little pile of green right here. And I mentioned earlier that I created this green. It's left over from my practice painting. But I'm going to go ahead and recreate it, okay? So I'm going to grab a chunk of green, since that's my main color. Chunk of green, small amounts of black. A little goes a long way. I can always add more if I need to. A little bit of brown, about the same amount. Mix it all up. Already it's looking like I need to add more black. Oh, you know what, guys? I'm sorry. I forgot to mention I also added more blue. I should have mentioned that. That blue also deepens the color. So actually, I'm going to grab some here. So we're adding a total, or mixing a total of 4 colors together: green, black, brown, and blue. There we go. And voila, we have a dark green. Once you've got your color, um, again, grab a bit of water off the top. That way it'll help you to spread it further, faster. Just gonna paint the whole thing underneath it. Grabbing a little more water. Now, you don't have to make this look perfect, okay? I'm just trying to fill in all the cracks. We still have our mountains to create. So our mountains are going to be covering this area. Just looking to fill those cracks. For me, it's taking a lot more water than I thought. That's just because my canvas is so dry. Don't be afraid to grab a lot of paint. Like really grab lots of paint, and as long as you're smoothing it out, really moving it back and forth, you're doing good. Just smooth it. It's the only thing that matters. Has anyone done anything fun or interesting in the last week or the last month? Other than ceramics class, like Andrea.
I'm actually this coming week, I'm going to Washington, D.C. with the National MS Society
Oh,
for they call it the PPC, Public Policy
oh,
Commission. I don't know, something like that. I don't know.
wow. That's so
But
exciting.
I'm hoping to meet Jennifer Digman.
Oh my gosh. That's so
Yeah,
exciting. Is this your
I'm
first
looking.
time doing this?
Yes, I've gone to my state capital for years and years. This is the first time
Okay.
going to DC.
Okay. That's so exciting. You're doing the good work. This is it so needs to be done.
I'm
Talk to those
trying. I don't know how
lawmakers.
much luck I'll have with my Eastern
Well,
North Carolina representatives.
well, strength in numbers, I hope.
That's right. We're gonna paint the town orange.
That's right, you are. That's so exciting. Yeah, that's super exciting. I really do need to go visit Austin, the capital, Austin, for that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
It's only an hour and a half away. Oh, Kiki.
My capital, Raleigh, is a 3 hour drive away.
3 hour. Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
But I have friends there, so I stay with
So that
them and, makes
make
it
it,
fun.
yeah, make that is fun.
So how are you going to get to DC and then where are you going to stay or are you going to stay?
Um, so a friend of mine in Raleigh is gonna go with me and he's gonna drive, and the National MS Society is putting us up in a hotel, I'm assuming somewhere near the Capitol.
Cool.
So we'll be, yeah, hotel Sunday, Monday, and then we go home Tuesday.
Okay. Okay. Then you go home Tuesday. So it's really just a day or so.
Yeah, it's like
2 days, 2 nights.
half a day of training on Sunday, a full day of training on Monday, and then speaking to your reps on Tuesday. And then it's going to be rush hour. So we have some friends up there. So we're going to stop and have dinner with them. And then we're going to get home really, really late.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm glad you'll at least get to see some friends too while you're
Yes.
there.
Yeah. And
That's
then I have a
fun.
doctor's appointment in Raleigh on Thursday. So it's just a whole thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And you have got to take pictures.
Yes.
Yes, and a friend of mine just launched it's a website. She calls it an online publication, but it's really a website, and it's the Outer Banks life, and so it's things that are happening on the Outer Banks, and so she wants me to take pictures. She wants to have some kind of an article on the page from my trip.
Ooh, okay.
I'm like, as long as I don't have to write the article, we're all right.
You just you just get to be there for the pictures.
So was she going to just interview you for the article or?
Probably, or she'll talk me into writing it.
I was
I'm
wondering about
taking a
that.
writing class with AnCan, so it's not like I don't know how to write.
Okay, guys. So, I want to rinse my brush now because we have some mountains to make. Let's make some mountains, and we're just gonna use pure black paint, or in my case, pavement. It's called pavement, but black paint. Okay, so I've rinsed my brush, and actually I want to get a little bit of water, get a bit of clean water, just dip it on the surface there, and then work the paint into my brush. We get to make some beautiful mountains. So let me show you the original. So, I like to have some I don't know, I like to start my mountains to where they look like they're moving, like going off on the side, and we just don't see the rest of it. So start kind of high. It really does not matter what it looks like in the center here, because most of this is going to be covered, if not all of it, okay? Really just the sides. So all I'm going to do is just follow along what I kind of already have, really.
Is that just black paint?
Mm-hmm. You got it.
Okay.
So I'm just moving it along using the edge of the brush to make the mountains. Now, once again, this part is going to be covered up with a lot of noise, which is to say it's going to have a lot of texture on top of it. So you need not make it look fancy or nice. As long as you get the black paint on there, and take the paint and just kind of cover up the rest of it up to the green. So I'm using the flat side of the brush, and I'm just going to brush it across. Now for me, I'm seeing a lot of the white spots of my paintings, so I want to try and cover that up. So that's what I'm doing, but other than that, that's the most care I'm taking. There we go. Just as long as you smooth it all out, we don't want any of those lumps and bumps. Use the flat edge to smooth it. I might actually, whenever I make the beam of my UFO, I think I will preserve this mountain because I like that one mountain. Of course, I make my favorite mountain directly in the middle where the beam is supposed to go. Of course, I would do that. After you make the mountains, we are going to switch brushes, okay? I believe this is the last time we use this particular brush, so we're not going to need the flat brush anymore. Don't need the flat brush, so I'm actually just going to rinse it and then just set it aside. Bye-bye flat brush.
Hannah, I felt like this was a good time to mention. I was in a meeting with Rick one time in a pharmaceutical company, and they wanted to clarify the type of individuals we serve. And Rick said, we serve everyone. He said, we might have an extraterrestrial come into the group because they might need peer support too. So I just want to say to all of our terrestrial and extraterrestrial friends, you are welcome here at AnCan, and there's a place for you.
Yep. I know you're listening. I know you're listening. I know you're out there. You are welcome to join class. I've always wanted to be lifted up in space. Just throw that out there. Take me with you. Okay, guys. Let's make the stream. So let's make that little bit of water. I want to show you. So there's a little bit of water that kind of comes from the mountain. All I'm going to do right now, all we're going to do right now is make it using the medium size round brush. This time we'll just use pure blue, so nothing special, just pure blue. And I'm just going to be swiping it in there. Now, you don't see the swipes because I was able to cover it up and just kind of disguise it with all of my different types of greens, and actually using the palette knife. So palette knife to just kind of blur the edges, so to speak. So we do not have to take too much time on this part. I'm going to take the brush, my medium-sized round brush again, dip it in the water, scrub some water, and pure blue. Unless your blue is super bright, then I would recommend darkening it, but this is just the blue straight out of the tube. And I'm going to start by the mountains. Swipe, swipe, swipe. Back and forth. As you can see, the edges are very clear. I'm not really trying to disguise them, or I'm not trying to push them into the background. They just look like they're, I don't know, copy pasted on there. You can bring it out as far as you want. I do know that at least some of this is going to be covered up, and all of those edges will be covered up with the texture from the palette knife. And actually, we get to start on the palette knife after this part. Exciting. Very exciting. So I'll go ahead and set this here. You guys can see it. Should have done this in the beginning. There we go. Okay. Now, as you can see, there are lots of different kinds of greens here. And instead of creating every single green in here, I'm actually going to be double dipping my my palette knife and going back and forth between the browns and the dark green and the light green in any order that you want to do, okay? And I'll show you that in a bit. But we can practice a little bit using using these colors up here. Now, in a perfect world, okay, I would have a completely flat palette here with none of these little divots, these little round divots in here. I ideally would like to use a flat surface, but that's just what I have. So take your palette knife and let's start off with maybe putting in some of this noise in the sky right there. So let's see. Let's start off with purple. So we'll take our palette knife and let's sort of grab some of that. Just tap, tap, tap a little bit. Something like that. And you can start in the sky and scrape it. Now, notice how it gives us a definite shape. Let's kind of smush it and get rid of that definite shape. See that? I'm completely flattening it, and I can even scrape it to maybe mess up that shape. Or you can be a little bit more delicate with it if you want to, and just kind of very lightly tap it or scrape it. Now, I mentioned balance, right? Say I put a little bit, maybe I put a little bit too much purple. Or, I think it's a little too much purple. Kind of stands out. Well, you can balance it out by putting a bit of the dark blue. Now, I've got to make a little bit more, but actually I've got some here. Again, scrape some dark blue on top of it, and that helps to push it back. Helps to push it back into the sky. Balances it out. I'm not being gentle with this. I'm scraping it. Like you can hear it. Now, it's a different story though if you're using paper, okay? I would be a little bit more delicate with the paper. Once you're happy with the purple, you can move on to the teal, and it's the same thing. In this picture, in this example, I don't have purple on this side. Well, I think I have a little bit of purple, but not much. I do want more here. I really like this purple. Again, I'm using a canvas and I can hear the scrapes pretty well. Same thing with teal. Tap, tap, tap a little bit on the surface. And scrape, scrape, scrape. Flattening it out, partially using the side. I don't like that. Let me show you what it looks like if you use maybe a palette knife that's very different, or maybe even a gift card if you need to use a gift card because you don't have palette knives. Here's what that looks like. So I've got my gift card right here, and let's go and tap it in the corner. And again, this is if you have the gift card. Just tap a little in the corner, kind of scrape a little bit off because I don't want it to be too lumpy.
I'm always
Okay.
waiting for you to say, those gift cards you don't need. Send them to
Yeah, I will take them. Send them to me, guys. I could use them in a painting. You see how I'm scraping it like that?
Don't worry if there's a little bit of money on it.
Don't worry. See how I'm kind of scraping it, kind of flattening it, just like that. Excuse me. I'm sick, guys. Ooh, I like that. It's a nice scrape. And then again, if you want to balance it out, add more of the dark blue. That way you can take away some of that teal. I want to figure out how I can recreate these little smudges because I like the way I put those in there. It's kind of hard to, so it's hard to recreate exact paintbrush strokes. Maybe like something like this. Not exactly. Oh well, just gonna run with it. The last color is blue. So just a little bit of regular blue. So I can wipe my palette knife off on my napkin. And there's just a little bit of regular blue just to kind of push some of this back, cover it up a bit. And I forgot to mention earlier that we are actually going to make some stars. So that's using a different technique, using a brush. I think I've done it before in this class.
You have.
Okay, good. Yay. I'm pushing this blue back a bit using my dark blue. I feel like it's a bit bright. But, I think I'm happy with it. It's very speckled, I guess. It's very spread out, which is good. We want some of that. Let me show you the other example. Did I show this to everyone earlier? Was it a few of you guys? My example? This guy?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, so it's the same here where it's very spread out. Okay. Now for the stars, if you want some stars, you see these spatters right here? We're going to be able to make some spatters. Now this part, it can get a little messy. Your hands will get paint on it. So just be careful. Maybe have some baby wipes nearby if you really want that, or extra napkins. Um, and then it's possible to get paint on the surrounding area. It's nothing too over the top, okay? It's just one or two little taps of paint. So what I'll do is I'll take my brush here and I'll put some water on it and I'll use white paint and I'll just kind of tap. Either tap or you can scrape using your finger and it'll give you some of these little dots. I forgot to pour white paint out on my palette, so I'm going to do that now. It just takes a little bit. A little goes a long way. Poured the paint out. Now take either one of these brushes. I'll just use the medium-sized brush. So medium size. And then I'm going to grab some water off the top. That water is going to help make it a little bit more liquidy so that there's a better chance to spray it on. And like I said, just be careful because there is a small chance you might get some paint on the surrounding stuff. So I'm going to grab a bit of white paint and work it in there. A little goes a long way. We don't need a lot. Grab some of that. A little goes a long way. And I'll just kind of do a little practice tap. Looks like nothing came out, okay? So I need a little more water. I need a little more paint. I did this practice tap on my palette. I actually would not recommend you do that. I was being lazy. Okay. Do a little tap there. See how when I tap it, it sprays? You can get a little bit on here, but we are going to cover that up. So there's that method where you tap it, or you can use your finger. And that'll give you some finer sprays. So I'm just going to wipe my finger. That's that. All of these sprays that are in the mountain and even down here, I got some in the grass. We'll cover that up with the, what is it, the palette knife. Okay. Now, take your palette knife and basically do the same thing with the purple and the teal in your mountains. So I like to think of purple mountains majesty. That always comes to mind when I'm making mountains. So there's no particular pattern except, maybe you can I'll show you how to make some lines. But we're just going to scrape some of that in the mountains just to give it a bit of texture. And if you wanted to go along the edge, then you have an edge. So use the edge of the palette knife. Just kind of go along the edge of the mountains if you wanted to line it. I'm still going to put some scrapes back here wherever I know the UFO beam of light is going to be, just because you'd never know how much of this you're going to be able to cover. And I did mention earlier that I want to keep this mountain in view. So maybe I'll put the lines over here, just kind of go along the edge a little bit. I'm not exactly being too careful with it. I think I even put a little bit of light purple. So if you like that light purple, then you can just take a bit of purple and then take a bit of white. So I'll take it over here and just kind of mix a little bit using the palette knife. It doesn't need to be a big thing, just a little bit. See that? Mixing. And I can put a splash of light purple in there. I like that purple. I love that purple. Don't add more. Going crazy with it. And you don't have to wipe off your palette knife if when you move on to the teal. You can if you want to. If it's excessive, of course, wipe it off. But do the same thing. I'll probably do a little bit less of the teal just because it's so bright, but you can go along the edge, scrape a little in there. I say I'll do a lot less and then don't follow through. I'm very happy with this mountain. I'm going to keep that guy. You guys doing okay? Let me know if I'm going too fast, okay? I do want to have plenty of time to work on our aliens, our spaceships. So I'm thinking I'll probably get you guys started down here with the grassy area. I'll show you just kind of how to jump from color to color to kind of create all of these more complicated colors here. And I say complicated, but what I mean is that there's really no one green, or we're not going to be mixing different kinds of greens separately. They're very I'll show you. Um so I'll get you guys started on this area down here, but then it's not going to be finished because it's one of those things where you can go back and forth to it to make it a little bit more rich with more greens. Our main focus is the alien spaceship, so I do want to spend a lot of time on the spaceship. So again, I'll get you started, and you can work on the grassy area just kind of as you go. If you need a break from the spaceship, then go back to the grassy area. Okay. So where did I put it? Oh, here it is. All right. So we already have the dark green. Okay, that's already mixed. And if you need to mix a little bit more of that dark green, that's okay. Go ahead and take time to do that now. But we already have regular green right there as well. My complicated greens are going to be a mixture of all of that and more, probably. A very uneven amounts. So I can start off. I'm just mixing a bit more of this dark green because I need it a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So I can start off by maybe grabbing a little bit of that dark green. And then let's maybe double dip into the green, the regular green, the non-mixed green. Okay, so I've got a pretty good amount on my palette knife here. And we can start by scraping it horizontally. The same kinds of scrapes that you did up here, we're going to do them down here. It's going to be a mix of just kind of scraping it like that, and maybe a mix of going back and forth to make those lines too. Very uneven mixtures of these things. Now I can go back and maybe do the same thing. So I'm grabbing a little bit of the dark green and then also a little bit of the regular unmixed green. I can put this back here. I can start to line. So when I say line, I mean like put your scrapes around the water like this. Let me show you closer. Wish I could get rid of this glare. But around the water, you can kind of make these lines across it where I'm kind of crossing it. You can kind of see it a little bit better that way. Like that. This is how you blur those edges. Any of these greens, it's kind of like you're slicing it. Going into the water, but then also going out of it too, into the grassy area. We do want to make it uneven. Almost looks like a marsh. You see that? See how it's uneven? And all of that happened when I just went back and forth using the edge. Now those are with the two greens, okay? The regular green and the dark green. But if I want to make things a bit more complicated, I can maybe grab a little bit of white paint. See how I've got the white paint right here? And before we put the white paint on there, we definitely don't want to put straight white onto there. We want to mix it up a little bit. So I'll just mix it with this dark green. You can add a little bit of the regular green too if you want to make it brighter. But I've got a completely different green right there. It's lighter. So now I can add some of that. I'm going to make it a little lighter. See that? And then also do the same thing with your browns. See how we're just jumping from color to color? And we're just making tiny little piles where we mix it together. So maybe add a little green, a little brown, a little white, mix that a bit. Now I've got a much more brownish green. Same thing. At some point, it might be nice to just kind of move downward just to have a little bit of variation in your brush strokes. But just a little bit. I'm going everywhere, okay? So that's how you handle all of this greenery, okay? Now, it's very easy to make it look like there's a lot going on. And in fact, if you really want to get complicated, you can even add some of the purple to the green, and it makes a different kind of brown. See that purple here? There's that purple, and it's just a different kind of greenish brown color. So you really can't go wrong down here, honestly. So keep on scraping, okay? I'll give you guys another minute, and then I'll show you how to do the alien. This is what we came here for. Okay, now again, like you can keep on working on this bottom area off and on. Okay, doesn't have to be complete. You can even add the teal to it if you wanted.
Anna, you say it's what we came here for, but I think it's what they came here for.
What they came here for, that's right.
You're trying to have control.
Nah, I think the aliens are good. I feel like if they wanted to take over the Earth, they would have done it already. And then of course you can always add just the dark green if you want to push some areas back. See that? Pushing that back. It is nice to just throw it in there anyway. Okay. Now, just like the brushes, I can also dip my palette knife into the water. That way you can get a little extra off of it, extra paint off of it. So I dipped it in the water. We can just wipe it down. Hopefully by now this area is dry enough that we can start to create our spaceships on top. Now I'll show you guys how to make the basic shapes and basic forms. Now I'll start off with white paint because we want to have a strong base. We want to make sure that our paint will show, because these are very dark colors that we're painting on top of. So that white paint is going to help to give us a good base, okay? And I will be using my smallest brush just to start out, okay? If you guys feel like you need to move on to the larger brush, you know, just to fill in the space, you'll see what I mean in a moment. You can do that too. So switch back and forth between your, this one right here, this round brush, so the two round brushes. Or honestly, if you have any other round brushes that you're not using, bring those in too. Invite those into the picture. But just to be on the safe side, I'll start off with the smallest one, and then we'll go from there. Need to pour out some more white paint, so I'm going to do that. Okay. So because we're seeing the bottoms of these, it's going to be a little bit different, okay? I'll show you how to make one of these two, okay? So we'll take the white paint, smallest brush. Now, I already said earlier that I want my mountain right here to show. So for me, I'm going to put my spaceship maybe over here. And let's start off with kind of a deflated football shape. Like it's kind of pointy-ish at the ends. And I'm just gonna round it out. It almost looks like a hot dog, actually. I like to think of it as a deflated football. It's got those pointy-ish edges. And it can be kind of hard to make anything pointy with paint. So take your time with it and start small, because let me tell you, it will end up getting a little bit bigger. Okay, there we go. Now it does help to get those crispier edges, smoother edges, if you have a lot of paint on your brush. See how I can smooth the paint out if there's a lot there? Also, do you see how it just keeps on getting bigger? There we go. Now, I did use a lot of paint, but again, I want to smooth it all out. I see a lot of lumps in the middle of my painting, so I'm sorry, the middle of my spaceship, so I want to just smooth it out. What we've just painted is the basic shape. So it's this area right here. This area. We haven't painted the top yet. It's just the main portion. That's what this is.
Hannah, another rapid fire UFO question.
Mm-hmm.
Are UFOs or extraterrestrials friends or foes?
Hmm. I think,
Depends on which species you're talking about, you know.
yeah, I think so. I think I've heard
I
the
think I heard
reptilians are
somewhere
bad.
that there's like 75 different alien species.
Yeah, I think I've heard a large number too. Like the reptilians, I think are supposed to be the bad guys.
Right.
What else? The Greys, I think, are supposed to also be bad guys. But the
They're more
Nordics,
scientists, aren't they? The Greys,
yeah,
aren't they the
they're
ones that are
more
taking our ovaries and making crossbreeds?
something like that. Yeah. And yeah, and it's more the Nordics, I think, that are like I don't know why they're here. I don't remember.
Hey, I thought this was going to be
From
fun. You're scaring me.
oh no. It's okay. It's the reptilians that are mostly the bad guys and the Greys. Yeah, that I'm trying to remember the name of that book that I read years ago. Um, it talked about like this man's encounter with the tall whites, and he was a gosh, he's part of the Air Force, I think, working in Nevada, I believe. Of course, he didn't say specifically Nevada, um, but the deserts in Nevada, and he was a weatherman, I think, and he would often like have blackout periods where he would go about 4 a.m. go out into the desert and set up all of his weather balloon stuff, and then he'd black out, and eventually, just long story short, he became kind of friends with them, kind of like he kind of became like a spectacle for them because they had a base in the mountains, and it's like they would go into the mountains like these different kinds of spaceships. It was like a hub for the same types of aliens, the tall whites. It was like a hub in the mountains, and they would take him, and it's they would marvel at him almost the same way we would marvel at other species, other animals from a different place. Like that's what they did to him. So they didn't do anything
Hannah, I'm
bad. They
sorry,
were
but you're
just
missing your calling not doing alien podcasts. Like I was listening to that and you had me on the edge of my
oh
seat.
oh. There's so many different podcasts I need to do, but I think that's one I could really get behind.
Are you familiar with the ancient alien people?
Yeah, a little bit. My dad would always put like ancient aliens on History Channel on the TV. A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, okay, maybe more than a little bit actually, now that I think about it. Yeah. Hold on, let me teach you all the next steps first, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next part is this area up here. I like to think of it as like the hub, like the central hub of the spacecraft. So you're welcome to paint that in with the white paint, or if it's going to be a dark color like this, you can just wait and we can paint it in with a dark color like black later. So make a little lump here. Now, how tall this lump is really it really depends on you, okay? Because different spaceships, like the different types that I looked up, truthfully, I looked up spaceship clip art, so there's all kinds there. Um, some of them are really, really round and bulbous. Some of them are very flat like this. Some of them, I know there's so many different sizes and widths, heights of these little things. So whatever you want to do. Be Now, I chose to make it more flat, however, because I like the perspective. Okay, so if you like the perspective of it looking like, let me show you this one too, of it looking like it's receding, it's back, it's not bending, like we can see more of the bottom. That's why it's more flat. Okay, a little lesson in perspective, I guess. Now, I'm gonna let that dry for a moment. Okay, if you want to do like a different funky looking spaceship, kind of like this one, then I'll do this one so you can see it. So this guy right here. So maybe I'll make it right over here. We're going to start the same way, except it's not quite as football shaped. It's a bit more round than that. So I just want to get that started. There we go. Now this one's, like I said, a bit more round, and I'll let that dry. So again, I'm doing this one right here. This green one is going right there. Okay. Now, if you're going for a green, or I'm sorry, not green, a teal area underneath, then we can start to paint this guy with teal. So you choose your spaceship color, okay? It can be any color. I chose teal, once again, same thing with this one. I chose teal for these two. You can do purple, you can, like I said, you can do pink. Once your spaceship is dry, you can put that color right on top of it. Now, even though part of it is a little bit darker, we're still going to cover the whole thing with your one color. So again, I chose teal for this one. Maybe I'll stick with teal just to make things easier. So got my teal, I'll paint the whole thing. I am grabbing a bit of water just to make it easier to move. Paint this thing in my teal. Now the hub up here, I know I said to paint everything, but actually if the hub is going to be a different color, you can just leave that one blank. Paint your original football color with your main color. I'm going to get a little more water because I need to fit it into here. If you need to move your painting around, you can do that too. Now I think I want my hub to be like a dark purple. So I'm going to do that. Now the reason I chose for it to be a darker color is because it's in the back. Like all of that light is focused on the bottom down there. So it's just a dark area because it's receding into the background. So I'm going to color that in as best as I can. Sometimes, actually, not sometimes, a lot of times, I will, just to help me fall asleep at night. You kids are gonna think I'm crazy, but to help me fall asleep at night, sometimes I'll listen to either scary stories or UFO stories. Sometimes true crime stories, sometimes, but it's usually something supernatural. And aliens are a hot topic. I actually last time I fell asleep, well, I was in bed listening to somebody talk about mermaid stories, and those are fascinating. Like look up actual like mermaid stories, and they're
We
not.
should do some mermaid art.
That would be fun. That really would be fun.
Do they affect dreams?
Huh?
Do they affect your dreams?
Yeah, yeah, they affect your dreams.
Yours. I
They
don't know
can
about
lure
somebody
you
else's. But
they can lure you into the water. Yeah, they can take you into the water and you can somehow breathe when they're around
But
somehow.
I mean, I think Karen was asking, like, when you listen to this stuff, does it
Oh,
affect your dreams?
oh, my dreams. No, not really. No. I always have crazy dreams anyway. Whether or not I listen to those things, I my dreams are always crazy. Like there's always something odd going on. So yeah, that's always been that way for me. Oh, I can tell you about after this. Oh, by the way, I'm just painting in my other spaceship. So my other spaceship, it's going to be like a dark green color. So I made a dark green and I'm just painting it in. So I'll have to tell you guys about a crazy dream I had when I was maybe in college, I think. Yeah, I must have been in college because I was with an ex-boyfriend at the time and he was in the dream and in the dream he and I had to go rescue my family from an alien spaceship, and this spaceship was obviously in outer space, and somehow we got there using our own spaceship. um and it was scary because I think at the time we were watching a TV show called Firefly, and it's like a space western movie with I can't think of his name. When I think of the actor's name, I'll say it. But Alan Tudyk is in it, but he's not one of the main characters. Anyway, it's like a space western, okay? And there are these bad guys, bad aliens that are just crazy. Like they're very animalistic, okay? And in this my dream,
Isn't it
these
Nathan
aliens.
Fillion?
Yes, Nathan Fillion. Yes. Firefly is such a good show. Anyway. Um, yeah, so these animalistic aliens were in my dream. Um, hold on, let me point y'all to the next step. So, if you're I'm looking at this top portion here. You see where it's really bent and you see where it's different colors here. We're gonna paint that a little bit different. Let me start with this one. So with this one, I was thinking of some sort of metallic sheen of some kind. Let's take a darker color first and block this off. Okay, we're basically going to be, I don't know, halving this thing. So I'm going to take like a gray color. I'll just take my black and mix a little bit of white in it. Ooh, Katie says it just started snowing. Wow, so cool. Oh, that's amazing. Your kids are going bonkers, huh? That's cool. Okay, so I have a gray that I've created. And of course, I am using white paint to kind of uh, make it a little bit more smooth. And I'm just going to divide this. But my divide is not going to be completely in half. If you need to break up your lines, that's okay. It's going to be very bent. And how bent it is really just depends on you. You know, it can be a little bit bent or not. Like that. Now that water, it really helps you to get some better smoother brush strokes, okay? Now with this one, again, I was thinking of some sort of metallic or like iridescent kind of thing going on. But I'm not very good at like making things look super shiny, but I can kind of get the idea in there, okay? So I have the gray, but then I also have purple and teal coming down. And I'll just, since I have gray on my on my brush again, I'll just swipe and make these gray stripes, I guess. All of them are kind of meeting the center, like they're kind of bent towards the center. See that? I'm only putting this much gray because it's already on my brush. Take your time with that. I know it's a very small area, so take your time. This is why we're using a tiny brush. But all of the spaces in between, we'll fill them in with your two other colors. So for me, the purple and the teal. I think I had actually brought in like my darker teal. So it honestly, you can use blue the same way if you want to. I'll use blue. So little tiny stripes of purple, throw them in there. Little stripes of purple right there. And then I've got plenty of space for blue as well. Don't forget to use that water because that water is going to help you to get smoother lines. I'll also throw in some white paint as well, because that's going to really help it to look more metallic. The white will help it. So I just alternated the colors any which way. Now I want to work on my other spaceship over here. I'll give y'all a second. Where was I with my story? Yes, okay, so we got to the spaceship, all right, in my dream, and found my family on there. It was dark. There was like this docking area. So it was a huge mothership, okay? Huge spaceship. And it was eerily quiet. It was dark, okay? There were absolutely no lights on in this spaceship, okay? But we managed to dock inside the mothership. And my family was there, okay? But they were just like hanging out outside in the docking area. And so we had to figure out, okay, how are we going to get everybody off? Because we had a small spaceship that we traveled in, and their spaceship was broken. And when I say my family, I mean like my mom and my sisters. So we had to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? We need to find like another spaceship, which means that we need to probably open those doors over there because there were doors. There were doors that led into the spaceship. And so we knew that there's probably going to be something else on the spaceship. And sure enough, like we heard some knocking, like in the distance, some knocking in the distance. And but it was too late. One of my sisters already opened one of the doors, and there was a bright light in the distance, and then you can see a bunch of those like animalistic aliens like charging at us, and they're huge and they're tall, and it's just like a horde of them charging. And so they get to they're running fast, and so they get to the door, so all of us just scrambled, like we were all just lost. Like we just were separated. That's the word. We were separated. And so I remember like just going through different passageways, and some passageways were kind of like were shorter than others, like taller, different shapes too. I can't really explain it. I just know that I kept opening different doors, and there was something different in every little door. It was almost as if every single door was a different dimension. Um, that's really the best thing I can describe, because one of them looked like a house, and I remember running through like the balcony and like the corridors, and I saw a whole bunch of people that I knew in that house. I think it was also a school though, if I remember correctly. But one of the weirdest parts, like the craziest part that I actually remember, I'll tell you after this next part. Let's do the beam of light now. Okay. So this particular beam of light, I accidentally made it really wide. Okay. That was all an accident. I meant to make it a little bit smaller, like this one. But that's okay. If it happens to be wide, that's all right. So again, I'm going to take my tiniest brush, and I'm going to use white paint. So pure white paint, all right? I'll take my little bit of water, just a little bit. Didn't need to take a lot. And this is a part where if you feel like you want to like move on to your larger, your medium-sized brush, this one right here, you can, okay? Because what I'm going to do is I'll start in the middle here, and I'll make a little, like a dash, a small-ish dash. And then from that dash, my light is going to radiate outward. Radiate from this spot. It really helps if you're able to make longer brush strokes, if you can. But all of it is going to radiate out. And then it still helps if you're able to get some of the, get some water, because it helps it to go a little bit further. I'm going to try to keep these lines as straight as possible, but it may not always happen. And that's okay. Now I'm starting off with the white lines. However, I did manage to throw in a little bit of teal in there just for a little bit of depth. So once you've got a good amount of white paint there, you can just double dip into your teal, and then just put a few little streaks here and there. I feel like that's really too tealy. It's very, what's the word? It's very bright. It's a little too bright for me. So I'm going to balance it out with a bit of white. Just remember, you can always balance these things out. There we go. That white paint helps to soften it. So I like that. There we go. Now, in the original painting, you can see that I actually put in a little bit of scrapes. So with the palette knife, I scraped a little bit of paint in there. And I like it, actually. I love the way it turned out. So I'll show you how to do that as well. But I do want to wait for it to dry, okay? So let me go ahead and turn to this guy, this this spaceship right here. Again, I'll take my tiny brush, and you'll see with this spaceship, I have this long band of black paint here. So I want to make this band of paint. So I think I actually mixed a little bit of brown with my black paint. So brown and black. But of course, use whatever color you want to use, okay? Ooh, I'm gonna make it purple. Like an AnCan spaceship. No matter what, though, it's a dark color. It's purple and green. So it goes in the middle, but it's slightly bent. And that's because of the perspective. Slightly bent. And that little bit of extra water, again, it helps to smooth it all out. Okay. You guys doing okay? Need me to repeat anything, let me know.
I can't wait to see what people are doing.
Yeah, me too. Now, on this spaceship, I did darken the top area up here. So I put a darker green. So I'll go ahead and do that. So whatever color your spaceship is, you do a darker version of that color. And I know I kind of began to do this right here, but I don't think I gave you guys like a formal how-to on that part. All I'm doing is taking some of my regular green and I'll just mix a little bit of my dark green. So it's not super dark. I feel like I can fix some of these edges with this color. There we go. And again, the whole reason it's darker is because it's further up. There's no light source on it. Okay. You guys okay for me to show you how to do the white shiny parts on the bottom of the spaceship? Don't want to go too fast. Now the white shiny parts here, I feel like you can see them a little bit better. Well, I say that. There we go. You can kind of see them here. They move from the outside towards the center. See how they kind of radiate towards the center? Same thing with this one. They kind of move towards the center. Those are the shiny parts. And that's pure white. It just gives a little bit of dimension. So pure white, but mixed in with a little bit of water, of course, because we want them to be smooth. So I'm actually going to put a little bit more water than what I've been using. Just mix a little bit. So you can start at the edge here and just make these little lines that point towards the center. And the thing about shiny marks or shiny lines is that they're not really evenly spaced out. So some of them are more far apart, some of them spaced closer together. They're not even. And that's what makes it look a little bit more convincing. Now, if you like the way this one over here looks, I actually made some lines that go the opposite direction. You can see those same lines that I made just now. You can see them radiating towards the center, but then there's also some lines that crisscross that. They go across that. If you like that, then I'll show you how to do that. But if not, if you like the way it looks like this, then keep it, okay? And that's why I actually kept this one, because I really liked the way these lines looked here. So I didn't want to make anything else on top of it. But if you like the way this looks too, you just kind of go opposite direction. And again, I'm just using the watered down white paint.
I don't know what I'm trying to. Uh,
Mhm. Was that JP? Was that?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, there he is.
Sorry, I was having a malfunction.
Oh, it's okay. Okay. Now I have these lines to do underneath this spaceship. So again, I'll take my watered down white and I will radiate. I'll have them radiate towards the center. Like that. These dots right here, these were fun to make. So I took the opposite side of my brush, so the side with nothing on it, and you dip it into white paint first, and then yellow paint actually. So I know I didn't put yellow paint in the list, but honestly, you could whatever color lights you want, you can use that. I chose to use white paint first just to make it look more bright on top. So you could put pink lights, you could put whatever you want. Use the other side. And honestly, if you want to put lights on this one too, you certainly can. See that? Probably every other dot you'll want to refill, refresh it with more paint. Go over some of them. There we go. See, it just really makes it so much more interesting with those dots. Trying to see if I have any other interesting colors to put besides yellow.
Red, orange, hot
Orange might,
pink.
orange might be nice. I do have hot pink though. Oh yeah, I have to tell you guys the last part of my story. So my dream, I this was the part right before I woke up. One of the doors that I'll have to look for the hot pink later. But one of the doors that I'd opened was it looked like it opened up into space, like into outer space, but I could still breathe. So it was almost like it was its own huge chamber. Like it was a chamber that was just so vast, but you could tell that it was still a chamber. But again, it looked like outer space. And uh, what happened? So I was looking around and I could hear more of those aliens catching up to me. They were behind me, and I had to figure out what to do. And so I thought, okay, if this looks like space, then hopefully I will just float away. And I'll figure out what to do afterwards. So that door, I opened the door and I was standing on a ledge there, okay, and that ledge had absolutely nothing underneath it, just the vastness of that chamber. And again, you could see like the stars in the distance, but you could also see something else in the distance. These round things that kind of look like planets, but they're not as big as planets. Okay. And they were just kind of floating everywhere, these just round things. And when I looked closer at these round things, they were not planets. They were have you guys ever seen those like cute cats, but like they're super round? They were cute cats, but they're like bloated, big giant cats, like with tiny little heads and like tiny little arms and tails, but they were round like a planet. And
Oh, I never had kids, but is that like the Hello Kitty type thing?
kind of, yeah, like cute like Japanese anime kawaii
Yeah.
types of
Okay.
cats, kind of like that. And they were just floating in the air, or not the air, but floating in that outer space chamber. But they were so gigantic, I thought, okay, I can just jump on one of those because one of them was kind of like slowly starting to float by. And so that's what I did. I jumped from cat to cat. And I remember looking back and the aliens, like they were right there. Like they were trying to figure out how to get to me, but they wouldn't jump over to get to me. So you could see how ravenous they were. And then I woke up. I woke up and that was that. That was probably one of the craziest dreams I've ever had.
So did you wake up with like scared or like with emotion running through you or anything like that?
No, maybe anxious. Yeah, I was anxious. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but other than that, I don't remember feeling anything bad. Just it was a weird dream, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'm really lucky to have crazy dreams like that.
I used to dream that I could breathe underwater.
Oh, that's cool.
Like I had a dream that I didn't know I could breathe underwater
Uh,
and but I- it was either breathe or drown. So I started breathing and then I could breathe and I was still underwater and I became rich and famous because I was the only person in the world that could breathe underwater. And I just
wow.
felt up. I'd just wake up like, yeah, take
Yeah.
my day on now.
How cool though. Like it kind of like empowered you, I guess. Yeah, I can breathe
Yep,
underwater.
that's right.
That's funny how that works. So, is that the craziest dream you've ever had? Do you often have crazy dreams?
I don't remember my dreams anymore, but when I was a kid, I had some good ones.
I'm always running from something or something's chasing me in my dreams. Even now, something's always chasing me.
Hmm.
So if anyone wants to analyze me, go right ahead. Trying to figure out what else. Oh yes, there's just this one little dark line. It's just to indicate the portal that the light is coming out of. You can put it on there if you want. It's just a thin line. So this one, of course, had to be a larger line because the portal is so big. But if you want to, you can put it there. I kind of like the way mine looks right here, so I might actually just keep it. But if you want to use like a darker blue or a dark teal, just mix some black in with it. Now I mentioned that there's a little bit of what is it? The palette knife. So white paint palette knife on top of the beam of light. So if you want to do that, you can do that now because it should be dry by now. So let me put this under here. So kind of grab some white. Actually, I want this white to be maybe a little bit further down. So for me, I'm going to pour out a bit more. I'm going to use one of the flat sides of this. That way I can kind of tap it onto the bottom. There you go, like that. So there's a lot more. Not that I need that much. I don't think I need nearly this much. But you just kind of swipe it across, trying to stay within the confines of your beam of light. Spread it around. I don't know. I just thought that it made for an interesting look. So that's why I added it there.
I think I can see a shadow of a man at the bottom of your beam.
Ooh, I did think about putting like maybe waiting for it to dry and getting a Sharpie and drawing either a man or a cow. Maybe I'll do
Yep.
a cow. Maybe I'll do a cow. Where do you see the man though?
Yeah.
So move your fingers straight up there, like a tiny bit to, yep, right there. That's his head.
Or a skeleton.
Oh, this part right there?
Yes.
I can see that.
And then kind of the shadow of arms and legs and a body coming down from it.
Yeah, down from it right there. Or a skull. I actually see a skull. Like you care, I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, scary. Let's see. Is there anything else I'm missing on here? Oh, this is the original.
I mean, it's no Jesus in a cracker, but I can see it.
Jesus in a cracker. I don't know. You're welcome to put more paint down here if you want to. I didn't expect this to look as full as it does, but it does look more full. My water, I forgot to mention that I did put a little bit of teal in the water. So I'm gonna just do that now, but after that, I think that's it. I think I got everything. So if anyone wants to share, just let me know.
Yeah.
And I also see a man standing on the ground under the beam, like center and just to the right.
Under the beam.
Right. But on the green. Go up, 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 up. Then over to the right.
His arm is on the far right. Far right.
His head is like a little dot between your beam. If you go up, right, you are. Keep going.
Oh, right here?
That's his head.
Okay, I can kind of see it.
You kind of have to be back from it, but it looked like it was a person.
I'm amazed at the details you guys can see in this.
I know it's kind of like looking at clouds, looking at Hannah's painting.
Oh, yeah.
A ghost person, not a person.
Wow.
Okay, I'll mute.
No, I don't know. I keep thinking of skulls now.
It's getting really late. I'll go ahead and show mine.
Yeah, let's see.
I'm not real happy with the UFO because I tilted it the wrong way, but
no, it's great.
But
Yeah,
I love the grass part down here.
Honestly, and I love your mountains too.
Oh, thank you.
I know, like it looks like a very serene sky. Like I don't like this spaceship is not here to cause any trouble.
No.
It's just
these people
it's
come
a
in
peaceful
peace.
scene. Yes, it's very peaceful. No, not ravenous. No, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Great job, Andrea.
Yes, thank you. I love it, guys. And please don't forget, I sent in the email and a after class survey, so would love it if you guys could fill that out. Just wanted to mention that. Fill that out. Put some just we like to like gauge how you guys feel about these classes. So you can put any comments, whatever, in those. Just wanted to throw that out there. It's in the email. Katie, I see yours.
Hello.
Aliens, look you. I see.
I had a really hard time with the also with the UFOs. They were really difficult, and I feel like I don't know. I felt like this one kind of looks like a watermelon. Although I'll say I thought yours kind of looked like a watermelon too. So
honestly, now that you say watermelon,
yeah. And then getting the tilt right on in these football shapes really hard. So I definitely want to do this again because I don't feel like I got that. I don't feel like I got the angles right, but I had really fun doing it. And while we're here in North Georgia, we went to this metalworks place or art shop, and I bought a little metal alien for my garden. So I will always
Oh,
remember coming to North Georgia and getting the little alien in my garden and doing this painting.
aliens. Can you send me a
Yes,
picture of that? I would love to see a picture.
absolutely.
Oh my
Yeah, for sure,
gosh.
for sure.
All these
Yes.
aliens, great
Yes,
job.
I
yes.
know. I love it, Katie.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank
And
you. All right,
Marianne,
I'll talk to you
Aw.
guys.
thank you.
Thanks, Katie. Oh, Marianne. Ooh, what beautiful colors.
Yes,
Oh my
beautiful
gosh.
colors.
I love that. And I honestly, I feel like the stars are one of my favorite parts. The stars and the what is it? The purple that you used. I love it. And I
Well,
love
thank you.
the color of your spaceship too. It's like that
I
really
think it kind of looks like a jellyfish, actually, but I had a little trouble with the tilting too.
uh
But yeah, I had a blast, so
that
I'm gonna
it
do it again too.
yay. I yeah,
Blast is so
honestly,
appropriate.
yes it is. It is beautiful, not brush strokes, but like palette knife strokes,
Yeah.
especially down there in the grassy area.
Mhm.
It's very interesting.
Well, thank you. Well, I learned a lot. I had fun,
Good.
and yeah, he's. It looks like he's standing up straight, but that's okay. He's
No,
taking
I
off.
love it. I love the beam of light. It does look a
Yes.
little bit like a jellyfish, but it makes it a lot more interesting. Thank
Well,
you,
thank you.
Marianne.
Thank you. And Sharon, I'm coming to you.
Yay, I love it. Sharon, there we go.
Now you got a better
I know.
tilt.
Yeah, like that tilt, that is a really good tilt. And I love that like your beam of light actually looks like it's it's going in the right direction too. You did a great job.
Yeah, I love it. I love the mountains.
There we
I
go.
kind of got carried away here.
It's fun, right? And I
Yeah,
love the fact
yeah.
that you did the dots
Mm.
on that one too.
I did. I like doing
Yeah.
dots on
Yeah, the
the
lights. They're
with
fun.
yeah, yeah.
Your sky, like the sky and the background, it honestly looks almost real. Like almost real, just the way that some of the colors blended together.
Yeah.
It just looks, it reminds me of what is it, West Texas and like Big
Oh,
Bend
yes.
and
Like
how vast the
Tulsa.
sky is. Yes.
This got a little messed up.
Oh, that's okay. I like
Like
it.
my river pond or whatever.
You did a great
Yeah,
job though.
thank you.
Yes,
It
I
was
Thank you,
love
fun.
it.
Sharon.
Thanks.
And we have the OG.
Well,
Ooh,
this is
JP.
Laurel's.
Oh, Laurel, I love.
She's
Wow.
she's not done.
Gosh, those mountains are
I
just so
know.
pretty.
They're so
Yeah,
eye-catching.
they
I
are.
know. Same thing with the grass, though. I love how
Oh yeah.
there's a really nice flow between like the dark area back here, like a gradual change in color from the dark to the light on the
Oh,
grass. It's gorgeous, and I love the glow on the bottom of your alien
oh
spaceship.
yeah.
The
It's pretty.
the
Yeah,
angle's wrong though.
I don't think it's wrong. No, I
And
don't think it's wrong.
I like have to get up early for work, so I had to
Mm,
start cleaning up. So I'm gonna finish it later.
mm. Yeah, send a picture. I'd love to see it.
Okay.
And here is mine.
Interesting design. Oh, yay! There's more. What is going on in the
Well,
bottom there?
there's a
He put
little
a little spaceship on the
Yeah,
ground
another
so
spaceship.
that's a tiny one. That must be
with the
Fred's
ramp
spaceship.
open, ready for the little men to come out.
Yeah.
I
And it tried
love it,
doing a
but
reflection in the water. I don't know.
oh, yes, that's what I'm seeing.
Nowhere near as good
Oh
as
my
Bob Ross would have
gosh.
done.
No, I love that. I just love that you did the reflection on the bottom.
I
That's
don't know how
so
to do that.
cool.
Maybe it's another class.
Reflections, yeah, that's a whole thing. But your sky too, I'm really loving the comet.
Yeah. Well, thank you very
How
much. This has been
cool.
fantastic. Yeah,
Yay.
I couldn't have missed this one if I had, if I were in the hospital, I would have been here.
Oh my
I
God, I
know.
love it. And I'm loving all of these spaceship designs that I'm seeing too. Like yours and Laurel's. Really
Oh yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Great
love it. Thank
job,
you.
And
Laura.
happy first day of spring, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you
Oh, that's
too.
today.
It was
Oh,
debatable.
yay.
Is it the first day or is it tomorrow?
I don't know. I didn't even know.
I'm gonna listen. I'm
I
gonna
think
listen.
it's today. It was at 5:01 in the morning, East Coast time. I don't know
Mm.
what about the rest of the world.
Laura, I love like that bluish teal that you're using, and the fact that you have that, because I feel like the bluish teal in the sky is being
I
reflected
know.
on the spaceship, like the top of the spaceship. Something about it seems like an actual reflection.
I had a lot of colors to choose from, and I didn't have any greens that I liked, so I had to mess around with green, but
Yeah.
blue, I felt like I had a lot of cool variations. I think that was aqua or
Okay,
turquoise. I don't know.
okay.
I was using all the colors.
It's pretty though. And honestly, I really love the grassy area too. There's something about like the contrasts in colors that just makes it more what's the word? Dynamic, I guess. That's
I felt like the grassy area got a little, I don't know, surreal.
I mean surreal's good though.
The,
Surreal's
the
good.
now that I'm looking at it on the screen, the little lighter colored blobs almost look like little ghosts or apparitions or
Mm.
something to me.
I
Maybe
think
that
it's
came out of
space.
the spaceship. I don't know.
I think it's space matter. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
I was really
Space
enjoying that you
matter.
were sharing your strange dreams because I often have these really lucid dreams with excruciating amount of detail that I feel like I can't ever completely share with somebody. So I just really appreciated
Oh my
you
God.
sharing
Unfiltered.
all of that detail. That was really
Well,
neat. Thank you.
yeah, of course. Honestly, I feel like these discussions, we should have these discussions more. I love like talking about this kind of like just the interesting, weird things that go
Yeah,
on in our lives.
absolutely.
I love that you
Yes.
can remember so much detail too. We're not alone, guys.
Great
Cool.
job, Laura, and love
Thank
those
you,
So, Hannah,
Laura.
dreams.
before I go to bed, I just wanted to let you know that I bought this solely for the bottle.
What in the world? That's adorable. That's actually a cute
What is it?
alien.
It's a bottle of vodka, but it's never
Now
been
that's
Oh,
pretty
opened.
cool.
I didn't want the vodka, I just wanted the bottle.
I
oh
don't
my
care who you
God.
are. That's neat.
I have to look for that. I really don't drink a lot, but I want that too. Oh my God, I love
What
it.
makes it? Does it
Yeah,
say
I
what
mean,
brand it is?
literally never been opened. I don't know if this stuff goes bad with
Oh,
time or
that's
good with
funny.
time, but I don't care. I just love the
That's
bottle.
funny. What was that? Somebody said something. Was it you, JP? Not sure somebody mentioned. That's okay.
Oh, I was wondering what brand and was whether you
Oh,
just got it or it's older. The
I've
skull.
had it for probably a year or two now, and it just says outer space vodka.
Nice.
So
easy to remember.
It's a way to get to outer space if you drink it all.
Oh my God.
right, right.
Got that right. Super
Thanks.
cool.
Thank you, Hannah and Alexa, so much. This was
Yes.
super fun and I love it, but I'm gonna go to bed.
Go to bed. Yes. Anyone else who or Karen, how are you doing?
Oh, you'll have to see it another time.
Okay.
Oh, Laurel looked it up and Total Wine sells that supposedly.
Okay, okay. I got one close by. I don't even drink too much, but I like that. Yeah, I think my mom had, or somebody, maybe a friend of mine, had found some tequila, but it was in a bottle that was in the shape of a skull. I gotta get that. All right, y'all. Well, Karen, I'd love to see it
Yeah, I think
Uh,
we got
at another
everybody.
time. Yeah, I would love to share your artwork on our social media. I know I'm a little bit behind. I didn't get a chance to share last month's artwork, but it's coming, okay? Please send me your artwork. I would especially love to share this one too, okay?
And
And Go ahead.
Oh, Hannah, I just want to make an announcement. And I don't even think you know this yet. But stay tuned for some veterans art classes. We're bringing it back this year.
Yay!
Yay! And Hannah, I need to talk to you about that, but I've
Okay.
got great news about that. So stay tuned. And as
Yay!
always, we will be back next month too.
Very exciting. Love those classes. Thank you, Alexa.
That's the best news I heard all day.
Yay!
Woohoo! Yes, let's talk about it later, Alexa.
Perfect. Well, good night, everyone, and thank you so much for joining.
Night, guys.
Good night. See you
Bye.
next month.
Bye.
Thanks.